So let me go here once again and select this, and then using 1% slope value, we bring the pipe up to about this point, to the point which we don't get any warnings. Then I'll go to the pipe that we have on the right and select the fitting on it, and then I'll move it upwards because the pipe that we're trying to connect is about 63 in elevation in itself as well. So I'll go to the Systems tab and select the pipe fitting, and then through the menu of the fittings that we have, I'll select this one, the T-Sanitary PVC, which is a 3-way fitting. Then I'll go to the plan and let me see where I should place this one. Alright, I'll just click on this area right here to place it momentarily, and then I'll select it and move it. There we go. Then we can put it on the pipe itself, and we're talking about this angle from the 3D view. So let's go to the cut and see what we have through the Detail 2 plan. So I can select it from this side as well, and then move it and place it down here. Let me just adjust it a bit so we can get it just right. Alright, after that, let me just return to the plan. Alright, so then zoom in here so we can see what exactly we're dealing with. And then let me just change the scaling to 1:5 so we can get a better look. Scaling was too big and we couldn't actually see the lines. Alright, so here let's see if we can set it on this part. There we go. Space, and if space doesn't work, we can rotate it using the arrow up top. Let me just click once again to rotate it. There we go. And then we'll have to adjust the angle on 45 degrees, and then the ending of the fitting is pointing towards this direction. So then using a line, we'll connect this line with this one. Let me just try it once again. Alright, so we don't actually want to change the direction of the fitting. So I'll select it and manually move it towards this direction. And then we bring it down here to have them here lining up, so then we can move them later on. Alright, then I'll use the trim tool and bring the piping of this system towards this direction. Then once again, I'll select the align tool and connect this line with this one. Now there may be just a little bit of a difference, but it's good enough. Then I'll select the cut that we have, and using the create similar option, I'll draw another one right on top of the pipe here. Alright, so then we'll just have to wait for the cut to be applied and the command to be loaded up in the file. Okay. After that, I'll select the cut line and decrease its depth so we can get it just right, and then I'll use a line to make sure it's based on the center line here, and then I'll open it up. Alright, now I'll just have to adjust it, so open this up and then bring this down here, and then we can zoom in and select the pipe that we have here and move it backwards just a bit. Now between these two we should have a space enough for 245-degree angle fittings right here. So I'll go over here and right click on this and select the draw pipe option, and after creating 45-degree fitting here, I'll delete the pipe. Then I'll mirror the fitting right over here. Then I'll rotate it so we can get it in the correct direction, and then I'll select the align tool so we can connect them up. So I'll select the circle that we have on top of the fitting, and then using that I'll move it right here. So now that the fittings are connected correctly, we just need to move them up a bit. But first I'll bring them backwards a bit. So this, we select it, and then using the move tool, We'll bring it backwards a bit so we can get it right here. Then using the circle on this side of the fitting, I'll move it over here and then I'll hit tab so we can connect them. Alright, then I'll click on it. Now let's go over to the 3D view where we can see exactly what we've built. Alright, so as you can see, we have a warning over here which states that we have an opening in the piping system. Now let's see which part of the system it is. It's this point. So I'll select the fitting and then I'll manually move it over here and then I'll hit tab so it can find its connection points. Alright, so this one's about fine, and let's check the other fitting as well. It seems fine, but let's just zoom in so we can see exactly. Hit tab a couple times. Alright, let me select it and disconnect it and then move it inwards and connect it once again. Alright, so this one's correct for now. So the problem is actually about the pipe over here, which we can fix later on as well. But before proceeding, we'll have to connect these two up. First, I'll delete the part that we have in the middle, and then after that, I'll go over here to the, let's see which one of the cuts, the detail 2, and then over here, I'll select and drag this one towards the system, and then we'll hit tab so it can find the connection point and lock it up. So there we go. Then after that, I'll go over here and then I'll hit VV to open up the visibility graphics menu, and then I'll go over to the Revit links and I'll momentarily uncheck the two boxes that we have here and hit OK. And this is all just so that we can see where exactly the warning is coming from. So it's exactly this point right here. Even though if we look at it, we can see that the connection is correct. So I'll select it once more and then I'll put it right over here on this circle that you can see. Now this is fine, but we are still getting the warning, so I'll check this part as well. I'll hit tab and then I'll release. So it's actually this connection over here that is giving us the warning. And if you actually take a look at the dimensions, we can see that the diameter of the first one is 3, but the second one hasn't been matched yet. So I'll edit it manually. The nominal radius, I'll put in 63 divided by 2. And we can see another problem that happens here. So I'll hit Ctrl Z, and this connection that we have here, all of its sides have one connection point. But for this part over here that goes down, we need to have a 63 millimeter diameter. And even though they're connected, the system can match them up, and that's why we're getting the warning. Now you can either make a connection in which the diameter of one part of the fitting is different from the other two, or you can put it just like this, assuming that the diameter of this one is about 63. You can manage this yourselves, and it's not anything complicated or big. And the warning itself is just this.